a great pleasure to be here. Thanks for the nice introduction. As you've already heard, my name is Jörg. I'm a partner from Horvath & Partners here in Switzerland, and I'm heading up our innovation practice. And we have a topic for you, which we definitely wanted to share, and it's about ecosystems. And when we first talked about ecosystems a long time ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, it was understood. A lot of people were wondering what is really behind it. Some mentioned Apple as a nice example, but meanwhile, it exactly fits to the title of the whole conference. It has become the new normal, and I have the pleasure to talk to you about a little bit about ecosystems. What is it all about? Why is it the new normal? And what can you do to become part of such an ecosystem? And what you can see here on the screen is, meanwhile, we have such a maturity that you can really see the different stages. Are you still thinking about creating an ecosystem? Are you already in it and you have an MVP status, meaning you have something out, it's kind of working? And then you like to tune it, so you really want to make it a full functional ecosystem, or you finally, some companies already have an ecosystem which is really good and they want to boost it. But in any case, what you have to be aware of is the success factors. And I would like to talk to you about 8 success factors. And the success factor number 1, regardless whether you want to build one, whether you want to boost it, is have a purpose. Define the purpose of your ecosystem. Create the lock-in effect. A lot of people talk about it, but just very rarely you find ecosystems which have a real lock-in effect. I will talk to you about this. The daily relevance. It's so critical that you have your clients, your customers, your partners on this ecosystem on a day-to-day basis. The purpose of data collection. A lot of people talk about data analytics. So what does it mean in terms of the ecosystem? Monetization. Sooner or later, you will be invited and to explain how do you make money with your ecosystem. Have a common value proposition with your partners. Otherwise, you only have a platform, but not a real ecosystem. Persistence, it's not a sprint, but if you really want to build an ecosystem, it's a marathon. And finally, really flexible business models. And I would like to take the next 20 minutes to talk to you about those 8 success factors. Really the most important success factor is the first one, strive for a purpose. A lot of people just start ecosystems, they put partner companies on the platform, and then finally, hopefully, find then a purpose. And it's definitely the other way around. I brought with me an example of 3 digital banks, which have been built with the help of Horvath. One is a very old one, it's the dinosaur of digital banking, it's George from the Erste Bank. The other one is the first digital bank in Switzerland, Zack, very easy bank. And Theo is a lifestyle banking system which we have created for the Sparda Bank group. And all are digital success stories, but a completely different purpose. So George and his platform and his ecosystem had really the one and only purpose to reposition the bank, 50% market share, and they decided we need a digital bank, but we need to reposition us. We are too old, we have clients which are very old, we don't have the young people. With Zack, completely different. Zack is a digital bank with physical presence. So the purpose here was really acquire younger clients at any cost. This was the mission, this was the strategy, this was the purpose of the platform. And with Theo, we have 4 million retail clients on Theo banking system. And here it was just about making new revenue streams, creating new revenue streams and go beyond banking, go into lifestyle. And all 3 are successful ecosystems, but with a completely different purpose. The second success factor, the lock-in effect. It is so important, and everybody talks about it. And if you do not create the lock-in effect, you do not really have an ecosystem. You might operate a platform, but you don't have an ecosystem. And I'd like to stress the story with the frog sitting on a lake and the real ecosystems in nature. The frog is not at the lake because we tie him to the lake, or we use a nail and nail the frog next to the lake. He is there because there's something which is very attractive to the frog. And if the attraction is gone, the frog will go. And you see here on this slide exemplary lock-in effects which you can use to keep your clients on your platform. Loyalty programs, cashback programs. You can have recurring contracts. So the client comes back and back and back and over again, and you see a screen here of the Theo banking system with multi-banking views. You see the different accounts you have. You have a finance weather, which is a very smart algorithm. So you really have to work on the lock-in effects to keep your clients stay. The daily relevance, I would like to stress here the topic of bank assurance, which has been created in this digital bank. In the middle, you can see the so-called contract manager. So the contract manager is a smart algorithm which just runs through your transactions. He identifies recurring transactions. He identifies them as an insurance contract, as a current contract, as Netflix, as Spotify, whatever kind of contracts you have. He puts it up, and so you have it on your screen. He reminds you when you can change them, and finally he makes an offer like the famous platforms, the comparison platforms. Like in Germany, we have Check24, for example. So you automatically create relevance through those kind of contracts. Or the other example you see on the right side of the screen, there's a marketplace with a lot of attractive offerings to the clients. We have bonuses in there. And just a final reminder, this is a banking app. So it's all inside a banking app. And we managed to create daily relevance via those kind of features. Data collection. Very purposefully, very carefully, we collect data, and we have to think about why we are collecting the data in advance. So it's not just we have data somewhere in the systems, but we really have to think about the purpose of this data and what do we actually want to do. So if you really want to use the data, you have to have an innovation mechanism behind it, which constantly, and you see it here on the right side of the slide, which constantly makes use of the data and then gives feedback again into the systems, which probably changes then the data collection mechanism. And so you have this cycle which ensures that you not only just have the data, but really use the data. And as you can imagine, in an ecosystem, you have data from multiple partners, and just having the combination of two partners is very, very valuable in terms of data analytics. Here's the example of some partners which we have in the platform. For example, we have Decathlon, which has lots of obviously shopping data about our clients. We know where the clients shop in addition. We combine those kind of data, and we can make tailor-made offerings then to our Sparda clients. The Sparda Bank is the owner of this banking app, which I just showed. A very, very important topic is monetization. And as I said in the beginning, in the end, someone will come up, whether it's a board member, whether it's the CEO, and he will ask those nasty questions about why do we operate this thing? And you better think about this before. And here are some examples, the drivers of monetization. Of course, it's the size of the customer base. But if I have just a small customer base, then at least let's have a high value of transaction. And if also the value of transaction is very low, then you only have one option left, which is the number of transactions. So this is the drivers. And then you have ample monetization methods. You have placement fees, you have performance-based compensation, you have commissions, you have recurring commissions, and. And as you can see with the little circles here, we have just indicated where you can find what kind of monetization method and how we have integrated it into the app. So my message is, when you want to make money out of the ecosystem, you really have to plan for it and you have to integrate it. This might sound simple, but we have the pleasure to look at a lot of ecosystems, and very few have really systematically thought about how to monetize. And the major differentiator between a normal platform and a real ecosystem is a common value proposition. So it's not just that one partner puts his products up on the platform and I sell it. You can do it, and it's then just a digital channel. But it's not an ecosystem. So we need to create common offerings. Why? Because that is powerful. This is something your competitor will not be able to match, because you created with your partner on your platform a unique offering. And giving the example of Decathlon, which I just showed 2 slides before, with Decathlon, the Sparda Bank, they create special Theo, which is the name of the banking app, special Theo offerings, which you only can buy within Theo with lots of rebates, and it's a weekly cycle, and this is how Decathlon tries to utilize the 4 million clients, the 4 million retail clients of Theo. And this is a real common value proposition with one example. Persistence. It's easily said, but so hard to stand through. Then I give you here the example of just integrating one partner into this Theo app, and meanwhile we have probably 110 partners integrated. As you can see, you have the first telco, 2 weeks. Then you meet for the first workshop. Then you have agreements. Then you decide on a cooperation. Then you have the decision meeting. Then you have all these contract negotiations. You meet with the lawyers, we discuss, and etc. Then you agree on the remuneration. Then you have the contract assignment, and then you have the completion. And as you can see, it's months. It's months which it takes only to integrate one partner into the platform. Meanwhile, this process has been optimized, but the main message is building an ecosystem is really not a sprint, it's a real marathon. And the flexible business models is our last success factor here. And this is a very important success factor, because when companies start ecosystems, they very much think about their own products. And what you really have to think about is go beyond your products, offer services, offer your processes, think about your core competencies, which you could integrate there. And as you can see, again, here on the right side, we have the Sparda app adopted to an insurance company. And what you can see here is, it's your wallet, it's your money wallet in yellow. And here you see your insurance-related transactions. So when you go to a doctor and you hand in the invoice to your insurance company, they pay you directly into the app, and this is and they make money with the banking services which they take from the bank partner. So it's a complete interwoven system, and it's really a completely new customer journey, and it's way beyond the original insurance product. So when you create those systems and you think about the monetization and the reason why, have in mind that it can be very beneficial to go beyond your actual product, the one which you have today. And what I would like to share with you is 3 main takeaways. When you think about ecosystems and those 8 success factors, then you really have to think beyond your business today. You have to really think about what is possible when I actually create an ecosystem, and what should it contain. Think about how to make it big, because setting it up is one thing, but the moment we set it up, we have to have the vision in mind. How do we grow this thing? So it's not just let's try a little bit and see whether it works or not. I have to have this picture, and obviously I realize it in agile steps, but I have to have this picture in mind, how to make the whole thing big. And finally, and it's always the same with businesses, Whether you're an NGO, then you do not count in cash, but you count in other values. But what is the value of the thing you're building, of the thing you have built? And why is it so beneficial for us as a company to run an ecosystem? And allow me some final words, why I personally believe it's so important to think about this topic, not only think about this topic, but also try to go into this topic. As a consultant, we have the benefit to really look into completely different industries. And whatever industry I'm looking in right now, I see them creating and thinking about ecosystems, participating in ecosystems. And especially the banking industry, with the banking services, I have industry clients which just take banking as a service, issue a card, and offer banking services to their clients. Completely wild industries. It's nothing to do with financial services. And the thing is, once you have a real partnership in your ecosystem, then this partner is taken for your competitor. So it's because he is with you. And especially, I give the example of Switzerland, we have one big platform where you can buy and sell houses. This platform has just gone into an ecosystem partnership with one big insurance company, and we have a lot of insurance companies. But this platform is now gone for the rest of the insurance business. And so the one insurer now is offering his insurances on this platform. Whenever you buy or sell a house, you have the possibility to work with them together. So I would like to summarize here and encourage you to think about those ecosystems, think about them as the new normal, and rather sooner than later, try to find your position with your company in a possible ecosystem. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm open for any questions now.
We have some questions from our audience, from our participants. Okay, let's start. Which companies can be successful in building a digital ecosystem? The ones with many customers, or the ones with the best technology implementation capability, or other aspects are important?
Yeah, I almost gave the answer already in my last statement. I don't think it really matters whether you have the best technology, whether you have the most customers, because the beauty of such an ecosystem is that you can find the missing pieces and just integrate it. You have to be aware of the assets you bring into the game, and this can be completely different. This can be completely different things. It can be your sales network. It can be your products, obviously. It can be a core competence which you bring in. The only thing you really need is you have to have an IT system which is flexible enough to integrate and to really make use of the beauty of the other ecosystem partner offerings. So I think that is the most important aspect. And a company who doesn't have those open interfaces obviously cannot participate in such an ecosystem. But I want to emphasize, it's not only about digital, it's also about your physical assets. And ideally, you find a way to combine the physical assets with the digital assets. So the client just can, without any interfaces, just go back and forth between those two worlds.
We have one more question. What does it take to create a functioning corporate ecosystem with the participation of many independent market players?
I think honestly, I think it takes a certain market power. So of your own company. When you're a little player, then it's a bit difficult to kind of go into such an ecosystem and bring in real value. So you have to have some strengths which you can bring into the game. Why is that? Because when you try to enter such a system, and especially if it's a well-functioning system, then the other players are already very strong, and they will have a lot of questions to the newbie, to the one who is going to join. What is his asset? What does he bring to the party? And unfortunately, ecosystems function the best when they are kind of free. What do I mean with that? I mean with that, that answering the question, is it, do my competitors also have access to this ecosystem? Or is it a closed ecosystem? And obviously for the clients, they would love having competition on the ecosystems. And so the moment you bring competition into this ecosystem, it will be a bit difficult also to convince the other partners, because you have to have a certain mindset. And this brings me back to my beginning statement. And you have to be strong enough, because if you are weak and you have competition in the ecosystem, you will always lose. So for me, it's a very important thing that you have to think about your assets, your strengths, and create the ecosystem where those can really play a major role.
Thank you, Jörg. We appreciate you for joining us today and for your presentation. Have a nice day.